Hey, ladies, welcome back to another episode. I am thrilled today to have my friend Anna Nichols here as a guest. And I'm just going to dive right in, let her introduce herself because we have some things to talk about in a very short amount of time. So, Anna, welcome to the podcast. Introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, how many kids you got, and what you do.
Hello, my friends. I'm Anna Nichols. I am a human design mentor and business strategist. I've got what I call two free range children, my 3-year-old son, Dylan, and my daughter just turned 6. And it's been amazing being a mompreneur, but really getting into business as a mom has been like the greatest joy and probably the greatest challenge of my life.
I love it. And this is actually going to be a great conversation because we were up until this point talking, and I had to say, let's stop talking because we need to record for this so that other moms can hear. Before we dive in to your journey and becoming an entrepreneur, tell us about human design. Because so you're a human design coach. If someone has never heard this phrase before, or maybe they have heard it, but they're not sure what it is, what is human design?
So, human design is, I call it a self awareness tool or a self discovery tool that if you've taken a strengths test or Myers Briggs or any of these personality tests, those you have to answer questions about yourself. Whereas in human design, it's actually based on the date, time, and location of your birth. And this is so powerful because it actually tells you who you've been designed to be, what your life purpose is, how to make decisions, the best environment for you. There's so much that we can go into with human design. And what is amazing about it is that when I talk to people about their human design, it's not like you're learning something completely new about yourself, but it's like you're discovering pieces of you that you might have forgotten or hidden, or that
Mm,
maybe just have gone by the wayside. And I apply human design in everything from parenting my children to my relationship with my spouse. But I love applying it to my business because it gives me clarity in areas where like the overthinking and overwhelm start to come in. And then I
yeah.
get reminded, like, this is who I'm meant to be. And when I follow it, magic happens.
I I am so excited to have this conversation because I also recently came into human design.
And let me tell you, I've taken a lot of personality tests where I've had to self-diagnose, take the test, diagnose yourself kind of thing. But human design was almost like validating things that are aligned with me or the things that I love doing the most. And also helping me to lean into just being me and not trying to be something else or be out of my energy. That was something. It's not crazy woo. I know some people are gonna be like, oh, this is all weird stuff. But I find that when you can use something like this as a tool to lean in further to yourself, like your personality test and other things, it just gives you freedom. It gives you
So
freedom and hope.
absolutely. And human design does absolutely have a woo aspect to it, but there's also a basis in quantum physics. So I love to say that
Hey,
it is like modern science and ancient science brought together to really help us, like you said, validate, discover, rediscover who we are in a way that I've never seen done in any other place before.
it's super exciting. And I just recently have seen other people start to get into human design over our mastermind retreat that I hosted for my VIP clients. There, we were talking about human design, and a couple of them, as they started to see who they were, their eyes were like, this is amazing. This explains so much why I do like doing this and I don't like doing that. So this is going to be a great episode. How did you get into human design? That's the question that we got to ask here.
It started with a nervous breakdown.
Oh, great. We love those.
Early in my entrepreneur journey, I had worked in higher education before. I'd worked in businesses before. I had really I've supported businesses inside and like through a coaching consulting perspective. And when I left my full-time job and went full-time into running my own business, it's like I lost my identity and had no idea who I was supposed to be anymore because I had so many skills and I had so many interests. And then as I was out there growing my business, I could see that there was many different ways to grow an online business. And so when you layer all of these things on here, I had always been like a good student, a good employee, and I was trying to check the boxes of like the right way of doing this. And that overwhelm really led me to this moment of like total identity crisis. And that's when I was going through a personal development program and learned about human design the first time. And it just baffled me because there were things in it that you said, oh my gosh, this explains things in me. But at the same time, these were parts of me that I had so deeply pushed down. Like I am a challenger of the status quo. And at the same time, I had gotten in trouble from my parents from that, or at school or in my jobs. And you, interestingly, as a now business owner, entrepreneur, this is what I do to help people, and it helps get them back on the right path. But for so long, things that were a part of me, even how I made decisions with my body, I was totally disconnected from that. I am a generator, for those of you who do know human design. And so all of my life, I could have like the energy to do things, but I was doing and then super burnt out because I wasn't actually doing things that I loved or that were in alignment for me. And once I started putting all of these pieces together in that early part of my business, I realized like when I was maybe trying to implement something in my business or create an offer and it fell out of alignment, my default thought is there's something wrong with me. I shouldn't be in business. I like am not worthy of being here. To then when I started looking at it from a human design perspective, I realized, oh, I'm actually trying to create something that is not, I'm not meant to create, or I'm communicating in a way or working in a way that doesn't light me up. And then once I started to do things in alignment, I was selling offers faster. It was so much easier to put things out there. I like am able to walk into a room and know how to identify my right client very quickly because of the words that I say and how they react to them. There's so many layers that have helped me honestly like work not just smarter, but like in a way that feels so good that I'm like, yes, I love what I'm doing. And I can see because I've attracted the right clients into my business that they are getting more value than if I just was trying to do something for the sake of doing it.
This is so powerful. Your story, I hear it all the time. Women who are like, I built a business and I just don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm doing all the things. I'm doing the social media. I'm doing this. And they're trying to do the quote unquote normal things that a business owner should do, especially in the entrepreneur world where we're just trying to piece it all together because there's no rule book here. And everybody's business looks different. And everyone's an expert and everyone's telling you to do it their way. And they're the ones that found the secret sauce and you have to pay their program, right? Which is good and fine, but also it brings a lot of disalignment. And I feel like so many women end up where you were, feeling, this doesn't feel good. It's not working. So what do they do when if there's someone listening right now who feels that relatability of this, I'm having a meltdown. This doesn't feel good. This isn't working for me. There's something wrong with me. Do I need to work harder? Why doesn't it feel good in my business? I thought I loved what I do, but now I don't love it at all. What would you tell? Where do they start? Where do they start with this?
So if you don't know anything about your human design yet, I do my Instagram have a link to get a free chart, and just starting to explore yourself is so interesting. But all of every single tool that you pull is going to give you this very like all generators are the same, all like different, like I'm a markets environment, but how you mix those things together for each unique person is really important. And so whether you go deep dive and research that for yourself, because I know there are people out there who are researchers, or if you get a human design reading, there are general ones you can get, or I do business specific ones where we align actually those specific parts of your human design to the different like areas of your business or your life that you're trying to find clarity on. And this actually brings up like a really interesting story of how like, it's not that I just found human design one day and was like, I was like, this is amazing, but I didn't know how to implement it and believe it
Sure.
right away. And I remember the first like real business coach that I invested in. And this was when I was taking my local business of just business consulting into the online space. And I hadn't incorporated human design with my clients yet. But I was going through her program and she kept telling me that I needed to have a one on one program. And she's like, all online coaches start with a one on one program. And I couldn't sell that one on one program to save my life for months. And I was like, oh, like, I'm terrible, right? All the negative thoughts are flowing through my head. And I had been always going back to my human design. And this was like this magic moment when I saw that my environment was markets, but really learned how to apply that. And I was like, this is why I love people. And I told her I wanted to start a group program. So you can't start a group program until you've done one-on-one. And I'm like,
Mhm.
but like, I am not, it's not that I don't like working with people one-on-one, and I have one-on-one offerings now that light me up, but the way that we were trying to design it was not in alignment with me. And so even before I knew human design, I felt that internal struggle and frustration of this isn't for me. But because someone who was an expert was telling me this is the way, I it didn't, I was failing. That's how I felt. Finally, I advocated for myself and said, I think I'm supposed to have a group program. Will you help me build this? We built the first group program, and it took me, I think, 5 months to get my first one on one client. And because of the group program that I designed that I was so excited about, I did a spaghetti on the wall 5 week launch and got 8 people signed into my first group program.
That's
And like,
crazy.
I had like legit, this is real, no email list. Like, I was out there just doing crazy things. I did have a local like basis of people who knew me. So some people did know me, but it's how I showed up to sell that offer. And then the next like iteration of my business was like, this is really interesting, but I know that I want to, or I keep hearing that I'm supposed to have this consistent, whether that's monthly recurring revenue or how am I building consistent income. And the
Mhm.
launch model, at that point, I was like, oh, I know when this program's over, I'm going to have to launch again. It was overwhelming me. So I joined a program that was teaching me a evergreen style of developing a program and marketing, but it was very much, I would call behind the scenes. So some of us like are really good in engaging in Facebook groups or in different, like you can send out social media posts.
Mhm.
Those always felt flat to me. I was like, no one was seeing me, no one was hearing me. And then I was like, okay, went back to my human design. I'm like, I am a generator, so I like to be around people. I have like in my profile, there's things about people. I went back to this markets environment and I was like, I built my local business networking. Why can't I build my online business networking? And then I discovered there was online networking groups, and my business just took off. My like visibility, like everything, because I put myself in the right place. Whereas I have other clients that I have referred to, whether that's more the Facebook model or the truly like social media model, because they have a different energy type, their environment is different, and they love being in a Facebook group and showing up, whereas I love being with people. And so I
Mhm.
wasn't showing up the same way. And what I love to say is that I have a master's degree in business and all the strategies work, my friends.
Yes.
But when you put yourself in the right situation with the coach that's going to teach you the strategy that is right for you, the exponential growth of that is so powerful. And I have one more little story to throw in here because this is like the true power of it. So as I was like on my human design journey, I was like, I'm just going to play with this for fun and see what happens. I'm going to design an entire offer. I'm just going to look through my design and just see. The other ones I had been like, I used a little bit of my like brain, a little human
Mhm.
design. I was like, let's just see what happens. If it fails, like not. I launched this like intensive, this is one of the one-on-ones that I do where I do a human design reading and then some Voxer, short-term Voxer coaching just to talk through your human design a little bit deeper.
Sure.
And I was super excited about this because I love this idea of fusing energy into people, helping them find the right path, and then connecting them with the person who's going to take them to the next level and go deeper. I
Mhm.
launched this program and in 7 days had 11 people wanting to be a part of it. And I had so much fun with it, creating it, talking about it. I loved delivering it. And I was like, how is this possible? And it is truly because we're here talking about alignment. And it's
Mhm.
because I am doing what I've been designed to do. And human design, what I love about it, it says that if we all play our part, if we are who we've been designed to be, then the whole collective rises. So, what I'm doing in helping people find their path and then connecting them with the coach or the like service provider that can help them achieve that, like I'm doing my part and those people are doing their part, and we are all rising together. And that's why I so deeply believe in human design and have infused it into my business completely now and helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses.
This is amazing. And I love this story. It's so powerful. And I think that we're all hoping for this kind of breakthrough that you described. And so interesting to me, you're like, it took me 5 months to get a one-on-one client. Like I was pushing a boulder up a hill and it just kept rolling back on me. And it felt very hard. And then you switched to what your expectations were and what you were desiring to this group, even though it wasn't the normal. Again, can we just point that out? Because as a coach, I would also say, hey, test out your skills on a one-on-one client. That is usually the normal of entrepreneur journey. That is a very typical path. But for you to say, no, this doesn't make sense. And I have the opposite story. I was
Mm-hmm.
collecting one-on-ones like hotcakes. And
Mm-hmm.
they're like, now you have to do group because there's no way you can take on this many one-on-ones. So I was like, well, I better do a group. And the group felt so unaligned with my first program because of the way I designed it. It was not aligned with me as a human and the human I am in my human design. As I've discovered now, like that was the worst thing I could have done for my business. And it made me feel like maybe I'm not a good coach. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe people don't want to work with me. Like it made me question a lot of things. Did you feel that you questioned yourself when you were seeing that stop motion and it was so hard to get that breakthrough? Did you question yourself?
Oh my gosh. I think there's sometimes like an extra person in my head that just like is the voice of doubt. And one of the things I have absolutely had to work through in my life is this trusting myself
Mm,
concept. And it's, I think because I've always tried to be, right, a good kid, a good student, a good employee, and checking the boxes that other people put out there for me. And I did have choice in that, but it wasn't until I became an entrepreneur, really, even as a mom, right? Like that I had to figure out who I was and what I wanted. And honestly, Lonnie, I felt so selfish doing that. Like
oh,
at my core, doing the things that like made me happy felt bad for a really long time because I had this like limiting belief that if I did what made me happy, then I would be disappointing all of these people in my life. And has been proven is that actually, the more I do things that I love, I can pour more into the people that I love. And if a client is unaligned or someone's not supportive of that, then they weren't meant for you. And that was so hard. It's easy to say, so hard
mhm.
to live. But doing that, now I can see, wow, there's all of these people that I get to connect with and support and engage with, whether that's in my business or in my community, in all the different places that I participate in my life. And that, like, it wasn't even that long ago, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, the first time that I was just like, I'm making decisions because I'm trying to make other people happy and not myself happy. And I had to have
Mm.
that look in the mirror and say, I'm doing these things and I'm not getting where I want in business. So, how am I going to start showing up? What do I need to do differently? And that's actually when I was like, let's just play this game and see what happens if I design the thing like fully out of my human design and see what happens. And Now I was
How,
like, I'm
f-
never going back. I'm never going back.
how fun is that though? And how amazing is it when we like stop this narrative of, oh, it shouldn't be this easy, or something must be wrong if I'm enjoying the process. And like we are literally blocking ourselves because we feel like it has to be difficult or has to be overwhelming or has to be whatever, fill in the blank, like everyone else. And when we stop that storytelling, we can self-lead into playtime. And that's something really fun. I've been trying to incorporate those kind of feelings into my business the last years. What sounds fun and easy to me? And that's a question I've been asking myself when it comes to my business. Does this sound fun and easy? If it doesn't, why? And why am I doing it?
And so from a coaching perspective, right, like you're a generator and fun and
Mm-hmm.
easy is the right thing for you. For my projector and manifestor friends and clients, it's what feels restful. It's what feels
Mm.
peaceful. Like fun is not the thing that they're chasing. We as generators, I'm chasing the fun. I'm here with you.
The good
But
energy feeling.
absolutely. And that's so good to know when we work with people and when we know ourselves, because finally, when I was going through picking my own coaches, just designing what my business would look like, and
Mhm.
I was hearing the noise of this is the right way, this is the best thing. And I will reiterate, friends, all the strategies work. When
Yes.
you find the strategy that is right for you, that trajectory, the speed that at which you move, just everything feels better. The ease, I think, is true regardless of what type of like you are in human
Yes.
design. But it's just like it's mind blowing because now I know when I hear those words, I don't feel bad for saying, yeah, that might work for you, but something different is going to work for me. And I no longer feel that guilt because I have seen it work so many times for other people.
I love it. And I 100% agree with you that there is no right business strategy that can work forever. Like only one way, I should say. There's no one way to do business. They all are good strategies. It's just what works for you. And I have a personal story of another friend of mine who, when I first got into human design, she and I both learned our what we were together, and she's a projector. And at the moment when we were doing this, I was getting a lot of one-on-one clients, and she was like, "Oh, I need to get some one-on-one clients." And oh my gosh, did that derail her? That was not aligned with her. However, she decided to create a course, a digital course, didn't even write it, just said she was going to write it. She actually it was a course about writing a course before you launch. And she sold so many of them in just a few days. And then on the flip side, I looked at her and I was like, oh, I need to do some more digital products. I sold zero of my digital products. So it's just, is it because I don't know what I'm doing and digital products aren't a good strategy, or one-on-one is not a good strategy, or whatever? No, it's just what was aligned with our energy and who we were and what we were attracting. And it was actually when we both sat back and realized we had been trying to copy each other and started laughing about it. It was freeing.
Mm.
And then we were able to support each other in another level of power. It was, it's just so fascinating how we can get tripped up by seeing somebody else do something because I want to do that. But if it doesn't align with you, it may not work for you.
And what I love about human design is one of the things that you learn or you can learn about yourself is how to make decisions. Because
Mm,
I'm in the process of actually building out and launching a course with a like cohort coaching support model to it. And I have been trying to launch a course or imagining a course for probably the whole 2 years that I have been an entrepreneur. And I couldn't, like that rolling that boulder up the hill is
mm,
exactly I was like, I couldn't find the right idea. I couldn't, like, I wasn't motivated to do it, all of the different things. And it's because I think the right sequence of events, experiences, my own growth happened because now, like, it's coming together with ease
mm.
because I feel lit up about the topic, how I'm putting it together, all of the different things. Whereas 2 years ago, I was like, oh, it makes sense to have a course. Everyone has a course. I should just have a course. But it wasn't aligned in that moment for me. And that doesn't mean I can't go back. Just like my one-on-one example, like I do human design one-on-one intensives for people, but they are short container. We go in depth really for a quick 90 minutes plus a maybe 30-day Voxer thing. But my previous one-on-one was like a 12, you could do a 3-month or a 6-month, and something about that didn't light me up. But this, I'm like, I love being able to just fuse this energy into people's businesses and then let them do the thing with the right person for that. Just to bring it full circle, right? This is where I say all the strategies work, because even for any one of us, where like you started with one-on-one because parts of your design aligned you with that, and I started with a group, and your friend started with a course, right? Like now you have a group, and I do one-on-ones, and all we can evolve through all of this. But there are, I would absolutely say, like ways to figure out what is the right thing for you to be doing right now in this moment as you are evolving, as right, maybe you're building out the systems or the infrastructure to support you, or the knowledge or experience or whatever that looks like. And I believe that if I had launched a course 2 years ago that was just a course for the sake of having a course, it wouldn't have been successful. And then I'm like, oh, I'm never meant to do this. Thankfully, I know better now, and I understand myself, the people that I'm serving, and I can see how to build this within alignment for me now. And I know it's going to be successful because of all of that being together.
Absolutely. And for me, I now have a group program that I love and adore. And the women are getting amazing results and they love it too. And it's very much more aligned. I think it comes to once yourself better, you can start to customize these strategies to fit you instead of trying to make yourself fit that box. And you can say, no, I'm going to mold it to me, and I'm going to look different, and I'm going to be okay with that and embrace it. And the more that you do that, the more success and openness and freedom you have for growth. And that's what makes it really exciting. So I want to wrap up and just recap a couple things. One is your human design is not you having to take a test and do all the things. As far as like self-evaluation is already there. You have the free human design. So you can go to your website. We'll link that in the show notes for everyone too, so that they can find you. What is your Instagram handle, by the way?
My handle is I am Anna Nichols.
Okay. Easy enough. Go find her and follow her, because you also share a lot of really great things. And then you also have a really fun meetup and networking event. Tell us about that as well, because I'm sure some people would just love to come and hang out and hear more. Maybe they're curious and they want to hear more about it.
So I love online networking, and I have actually created Human Design Happy Hour, which I run the first and third Wednesdays of each month at 2:00 Mountain Time. And this is another one of those things that came straight up from my human design, because I was like, I want to be around people. I want to have a drink, cocktail, mocktail, whatever, right? But just talk to people in a different way. And I go to tons of networking events that I love, but was just missing the vibe of having drinks with your girlfriends, and talking about stuff that you like to talk about. So we really push the envelope. It's not your standard. Yeah, we introduce ourselves, but we go deeper. We have more fun. And I love it. Like I said, Human Design Happy Hour, first and third Wednesdays of each month. So we've actually, I feel like as we, like this episode comes out and these are coming out, like I probably have, this is my maybe second most popular thing that I have people coming to. My intensives are really popular in this because the happy hour is free, right? You can just come and get to know other people, yourself, like we get into it. I'd love to see anybody who wants to be there.
Awesome. Where can they find the access to the happy hour?
That's also in my Instagram bio. So I've got a link tree there with access to the chart and to the Human Design Happy Hour.
Okay, so we're just going to say go follow Anna on Instagram and then hang out with her during the happy hour. Go take your human design test. If you've never done it before, all you need is your birth certificate so you can know where you were born and what the exact time. That's the main things that you're going to need to know is like the hour and minutes you were born. Because I know most of us know where we were born and what day, of course, but the time that you were actually born, very important to know. And dive in deep. And if you have questions, Anna loves this stuff. She and I talk about it all the time. And I can tell she's just, let's talk about it. So we were having a conversation about me and my environments is kitchens. So I'm also a generator in like you, but your environment is marketplaces and mine is kitchens. And that really changes up how we like to work with people. So it's just really fascinating. If you want to know what environment you are most comfortable in and you love to be in, go look it up. That's the fun part of this is just go find out more about yourself and start to look how you can create a more aligned business so you can have explosive expansion. That's what we all want. So thank you so much, Anna, for coming and sharing your wisdom. Any last words that you want to share as we close the podcast?
I think I'm just here to remind you all that the hardest part of business is having faith in yourself. The way you want to do it is the right way. Over and over, I hear from people when they learn their human design that it's given them the permission, validation to be the person that they feel that they are. But whatever experiences of our past have caused us to think that we should be a certain way, and we're not. And so go rediscover who you're meant to be, trust yourself, and have fun along the way.
I love it. I love it. And go follow her on Instagram. I am Anna Nichols. Thank you again for listening to this episode. I hope it was exciting, encouraging to you, and got your curiosity up to go and find your human design. We'll see you next week on another episode. Yay.